What makes a physical body human capable of anchoring higher frequencies?
It's a really good question. I'm just sitting with that for a second personally. It's easier for me to speak about it more generally, but if I think about it personally, well, what they've always said to me is that it was part of my contract. And what I will tell you is that if I hadn't gone through the healing, quite quite an aggressive healing period in my life from the age of 16 to 23, which still continues, and but from 16 to 23, I knew I had to recover myself. I knew I had to bring myself back from how I'd been experiencing life, my sensitivity. And of course, I didn't fully understand that at the time because I had a 16-year-old's consciousness. But once I found spirituality and self-growth, it was like the lights went on, and suddenly this world made more sense to me. That's what I remember very vividly. And so I think if I hadn't done that first 7 years, I probably couldn't have heard the Z's. And then as I started hearing them and working with them, and then going through the years of working with people, both as a channeler, but also just as an intuitive, working with people on a more human level, the growth just continues and it keeps pouring through you. And you have to keep letting go of whether you call it your shadow or the parts of you that are outdated. So I would say for me, that's my human journey. But I will also say, I think for all of us, we access it with intention. So whether you meditate as a way of trying to bring yourself peace and you're willing to give yourself 2 to 3 months of meditation to see if that brings more peace to you, whether you recognize that without exercise, you're going to continue to be agitated, depressed, frustrated. So you give yourself to exercise. I think we have to want something, which is light, more light in our life. And then we usually have to take an action to back it up. Even if you're someone who has a spontaneous awakening, as we know people have had, where overnight their life changes, they still have to change things. We are participant in it. So for me, actually, the journey of anchoring light can be described in a very human way. And I think for me, my interest has been, how do we as human beings reorganize ourselves or release ourselves in order to allow more light to come in? Because we won't be in light all the time. That's not the nature of this planet. That's not the nature of this reality. But we can continue to have a stronger and more consistent connection to light through our practices, our observations, our habits, and what we bring ourselves to.
And then this notion of being a light warrior. We had a few people write in and they said, really, can we come up with, can we evolve this archetype? We're at a time where in a warring planet. Are we going to be warriors? How do you relate to that term? And how do you think we could interpret it afresh in a way that works well?
I think they're making a great point. Over the years, there have been times I've used the phrase light warrior, or it's come from the Z's. There have been, you could say light bringer, you could say light bearer. For me, the word is not so important purely because I know that everyone interprets words differently. There are people for whom light warrior will feel really empowering. And there are people for whom light warrior, they'll be like, oh, I don't even like the word war or warrior. So it's all personal sensibility and personal position. I guess the way I zoom out and look at light warrior is, I think we're often very aware of the darkness of war and how war is enacted through dark behaviors, dark actions, dark intentions. Not necessarily, you don't tend to go to war with a compassionate heart. And I think often we've been sold this story that, okay, well, we're going to go to war and kill all these people so they don't kill us, and that's great. And everyone gets behind it. Yeah, great. And I'm like, oh, it's not from a spiritual lens. That is not a thing that's celebrated. It's part of this experience. It's also something the Z's have said is going to die out on Earth. It's not something that is going to be able to continue for hundreds of years from now, and that's kind of why we're in the grip of it right now. But light warrior to me is actually a bringer of balance. So a light warrior to me brings balance to the dark. And it doesn't mean you are aggressive with your light. It means you stand for it. And the best warriors are those who defend, not attack. You know, you can be a warrior who is a master of defense rather than a barbarian of attack. So again, I think words are so subjective and they depend on what our triggers are, what our beliefs are, what our opinions are. But I've learned over the years, especially doing work like this, that you can never know how someone's going to respond to a word or a term. And the terms themselves are limiting. And if you can approach things from that standpoint, you start to have a slightly more peaceful relationship with the whole thing. At least that's been my experience.
Discover on-demand videos and docuseries, explore a full schedule of daily life classes, and become part of an incredible community. At Sounds True One, we invite you inward to find your way your way.